Hello， 大家好，我是 Lydia， 欢迎来到国际聊天室。Hey everyone, I'm Lydia. You're listening to International Talk. 介绍今天的来宾之前，我想快速宣布一下，我最近开了一个新的 YouTube 频道 Lydia Muir Film， 之后会陆续发一些旅游和生活的 vlog， 欢迎各位搜寻和订阅我的新频道。Before I introduce my guest today, I'd like to announce that I have a new YouTube channel, Lydia Muir Film, where I'll be posting vlogs from my travels and my life. It would mean so much to me if you could check it out and subscribe. Now back to the show. 今天的来宾是我的好朋友 Sam， 他从小在美国 South Carolina 长大，妈妈是台湾人，爸爸是中国人。他今天会跟我们分享南卡罗来纳州的生活、宗教学校的环境、在瑞典交换的故事，还有搬来台湾的感觉。Today I had the pleasure of talking to my friend Sam. She's from South Carolina and her parents are from Taiwan and China. Today we'll talk about life in South Carolina, studying in a religious school, exchange stories from Sweden, and moving to Taiwan. So without further ado, let's begin. Welcome, Sam. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with that one question everyone hates. Where are you from?
I'm from Irmo, South Carolina, in the U.S.
And your parents are from?
My mom's from Taiwan and my dad's from China.
But you spent your whole life in South Carolina, right?
I was actually born in Hong Kong, but I moved to the U.S. when I was 2, so pretty much.
So tell us about South Carolina. I feel like it's not one of the places that we hear about. You know, we always hear about New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago even, but I've never heard anything about South Carolina. What is life there like?
Well, honestly, not surprised, because honestly I don't think everyone in the U.S. even knows where South Carolina is. And a lot of times they're like, Carolina? Like, they don't even really know, like, north or south. So when you say south, like, they're honestly just like... But the only thing we're really known for is we have Charleston, which was, like, a really, really old city, like one of the first English settlements. Charleston.
Oh.
So it's really historic and pretty there. We do have a lot of, like, plantations, you know, the south. And we have nice beaches. That's about it. So if you go to South Carolina, go for the beaches. About it.
So something else that I think is interesting from your past is that you went to a very religious school growing up, right?
Yeah, I went to a Baptist school, and it was tiny. It was like, you know, in like the old American, like when, you know, the country was still developing, they had like one-room schoolhouses, and it's like all the kids in like the small town would like go to school, but there would only be one teacher, and like all the grades are in one room. That was like basically the style of my school. It was like all the grades in elementary school were in one room because it was so tiny. Like it was like, I think the biggest class was maybe like 5 kids in one grade.
What?
And so we'd literally be in one room, they'd have dividers, and we'd all have desks, and we'd have one real teacher, like an actual person.
All the ages would share one teacher.
Yeah, because we would watch videos of teachers from another school. So we would have like headphones and we'd be like watching TV, but it's a teacher.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And your curriculum, like the stuff that you learned, was it all around religion?
We would always have a Bible class in the morning, and then our school, it wasn't really like, because we'd have, you know, like math and like phonics and stuff like that, and like science. I mean, some of the science stuff was kind of, you know, like God would be in there. And then like, just be like, I don't know, sometimes he'd come up. And then
God would just randomly show up in different classes.
Oh, there was one thing. I feel like if I say this, like, and then, like, they do watch this, they'll be like, they know who said this. But, like, we'd have, because, you know, like, every state has, like, you know, statewide, like, testing. So we'd have to do testing, and, like, you know, religious people, they don't believe in, like, evolution. And so they're like, we aren't made from, like, animals. Like, you know, God created us in his image. We didn't, like, evolve. And so, like, they'd be like, but this is, like, the statewide testing. We didn't, like, write it. There's going to be a question about evolution. And if you get the answer wrong on purpose, like, that's fine, because we came from God. We didn't evolve from animals. Like, they were like, you gotta know this. Like, they were really strict about that. Like,
so you like, could get that question wrong on purpose because
yeah, just
you
to
were
prove
like,
a point. Just to be like, no, God made us. We're not from animals.
But would they grade the test?
No, it was like...
So you would get a lower score because of
that. But they were like, it's okay. You can miss this answer.
God will reward you.
Yeah,
right?
God will be like happy.
So what did you learn about Swedish culture? Because I was thinking about it before this interview, and I was like, the only thing I know about Sweden is IKEA and meatballs.
Yeah, I did go to IKEA and I did eat meatballs. They were good. They had like these vegetarian meatballs too. I think it was like the biggest one in IKEA that my friend and I, like, we went there. We were like, let's take this bus because we like kind of live far away, but we were like, we gotta go to the biggest IKEA in Sweden. And it was fun. But what else is there? Oh, I learned a lot about, like, they have this thing called like fika, which is just like an afternoon like coffee, or like, you know, you get together with a friend and you like chill. So that was kind of like a thing that we were all like, ooh, Sweden, fika. So we like always would go because they have really good pastries. So we'd always like meet up with friends and we'd eat like lots of pastries. Ooh, because I had like a visiting host family. It was kind of suspicious now that I like look back on it, but it was the second time I met them. The first time I met them, we like met for like fika, like coffee, and then the next time they're like, oh, you should come to our house. And so I was like, okay. And so it was like pretty far away. Like I'd take like an hour on like the train, like their MRT. Then I'd take like a bus, and I was like, we're going like far-ish, kind of out of Stockholm. And it was like I guess the suburbs of Sweden. It was all just like rows of houses. I was like, this is very like neat and very like orderly. And then they're like, oh, let's go to the woods and let's go hunt for mushrooms. And I was like, okay.
This sounds like that movie.
And that was when, Midsummer came out, but I hadn't seen it yet because my friends and I were like, oh, maybe not while we're in Sweden. And so, like, they took me to the forest. It had just rained, so they were like, oh, we don't know, like, if we're gonna find that many mushrooms. So there I was, just walking around in the forest trying to find mushrooms. And like, they, like, drove us somewhere, and I was like, I have no idea.
Were they actual mushrooms? Or were they like mushrooms?
It was like, you know those fancy ones, like chanterelles or whatever? The ones that kind of look like horns? So they're really pretty, actually.
Oh, okay. So they were actually they really just wanted to show you these special mushrooms.
They were like, that's like something that we do. We like pick mushrooms. So I was like, okay. And so we just walked around. I think it was a little bit past like prime mushroom hunting season. So it was like kind of empty. It was kind of rainy. But I was like, let me get this authentic Swedish experience. So, and then I think like, because there were like 3 young kids, and like, I think one of them like did not want to go mushroom hunting. He was like throwing a fit, and I was just sitting there in the car like, okay, let's do this. But we did find a lot of mushrooms, and then they showed me how to like clean it, because you're not supposed to like wash them. You like brush them and stuff. They like cooked it up into like soup, and then like fried it on like toast, and it was good.
Wow.
But I was like, this could have turned out really differently.
You went by yourself?
Yeah, it was just me.
Wow, you're so brave. I would have been like, as soon as I got on that bus, being like, where am I?
Yeah, part of me was like, but then I was like, like, the school would know. They're the one who assigned me this family. Like, if I disappeared.
The school organized it. Okay, that's true. But still, I feel like if I would have heard, like, we're going mushroom hunting, I would have been, like, Midsummer, like, flashing through
Honestly,
my head.
this happened a week after one of my friends went out with her visiting host family, and they're like, we're going to take you into the woods, and we're going to show you, like, these, like, Viking ruins just in the forest. And so they went into the forest just looking for these Viking ruins, and we were all just like, you're gonna make it back, right? Everything's like good. And so like that happened a week after. I was like, if she's fine, like I should be good.
And the last question, if you had one message to share with the audience, what would it be? It could be anything.
I think it would just be to like go out there and try new things, or like go new places, because like I grew up in some place like small, and it was all like routine, you know. We don't really like do much except for like go on vacations over the summer, and like that was where I was like, oh, there's like so much more to see, like around the world, like even just outside of like South Carolina and like the whole of US. There's so many places to go and so many places I haven't been. But like being able to like travel in Europe when I went abroad, and then even just like living here, there's so many different places to go and like things that you can see. So trying new things, I think.
I like that. Try new things. Step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure.
Get out your bubble.
想听更多访谈内容和精彩的故事吗？欢迎到 Spotify 或 Apple Podcast 等平台收听完整版的访谈内容。直接搜寻国际聊天室 International Talk 就能找到。也欢迎追踪我的 IG， 还有订阅这个平台。If you'd like to listen to the rest of this interview, check out the full podcast episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on Instagram, internationaltalk_podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.